Alright, let's try this again. So, for character creation, once you do create a new character, you want to pick standard. If you want, you can check this show help text box to give you a little bit of information about what you're about to choose. And then just pick standard. It'll take you to the character creation. This just kind of gives you a little bit of info about creating your character, a little bit of steps like choose a race, character level, preferences, stuff like that. Just click next, and this will take you to the home page. This is where you enter the basic information. You can uh, name your character if you want. You can pick a portrait. You can pick one from this list, or if you have some art you want to use, you can use choose file. Let's go ahead and pick a portrait from this list. I'll do this one. And then you can give yourself a name. I'll just name this one Ben, whatever. And then for sources, you just want to check all these so that you can have access to all the content. Basically, like say if I had a homebrew item I wanted to give you, if you didn't have this homebrew content checked, I wouldn't be able to share it. If you wanted to play a critical role class like Blood Hunter or Gunslinger, and you didn't have this critical role content checked, you wouldn't be able to. Dice rolling, you want to make sure it's checked so you can roll the digital dice on your character sheet. I'll show you how that works later. Optional features, it's up to you. You can check both these or not. It just gives you optional features later, and then character creation. We'll go over that as well. Advancement type, just leave it on milestone, doesn't matter. Hit point type, I can't tell you what to pick, so it's entirely up to you. If you go manual, you just have to enter in your hit points manually, but if you do fixed, it does it for you. I'll do manual so I can show you what I'm talking about with the hit point entry. Confirm. Prerequisites, leave those checked. Not going to come into play here, but just don't bother with those. Don't change them. Level scaled spells, again, not going to come into play at level 1, but if you had scaled spells for caster, then it would show on your sheet as a scaled spell. It looks blue in the text, but that's only a later level, so just go ahead and leave that checked. It's not going to come into play. Encumbrance type, go no encumbrance, ignore coin weight, check that. And then ability score modifier display, this is a preference for you. You can do modifiers top or scores top. I like to do scores top, but you can do modifiers top, and I'll show you where you get modifiers from based on your score. But once all that's checked, you can just click next. This goes over race, what your various racial options are. Ability score increases age, alignment, size, speed, languages, subraces, and just gives you an overview of all that stuff. So your race, these are all your races. There's a lot, but each one gets its own abilities and differences. So let's just go with Elf, because that one's pretty easy. It has a lot of sub-races, but I'll just go High Elf because that's the most common, but there's different ones that get different ability scores and different abilities. So like let's take a look at High Elf, which gets uh, Dark Vision, Keen Senses, Proficiency, the Perception skill, uh, advantage against being charmed, and magic can't put you to sleep. Elves only trance, they don't sleep. Your intelligence score increases by 1. You get extra proficiencies. You get 1 cantrip of your choice and an extra language. And then elves in general get a +2 to dexterity, I believe. I'm just checking the elf page here. Um, Yep, dexterity score increases by 2. So you already start with a +2 dexterity. You get a +1 from being a high elf. And then, like, Dark elves get a +1 to charisma. Wood elves get a +1 to wisdom. It changes based on your subrace. Go back, go back. Come on. There we go. So this just gives you your racial traits here. If you want any detail on what your racial traits do, you just click it. I'll tell you what it does. Cantrip, you can pick one cantrip. Being an elf, it doesn't matter what you pick. Just whatever you think would be beneficial. I'll just go with light. And then extra language, you can pick a language additional to start with. Let's just go Dwarvish. And then this is the first Origin Manager feature from the Customize Origin on the home page. You can pick stuff to change about your race. Like you can choose a different ability score increase by 2. So instead of Dex, you can pick Wisdom, Strength, whatever. And then you can change out proficiencies and languages. And then this is the +1, so instead of Intelligence, you can make that Charisma or Constitution or something like that. But I'm just going to leave all it the same because +2 Dex, +1 Intelligence is probably what I'm going to want if I'm picking an elf. Go next. This goes over you choosing your class. Next, you pick your class, and like I said, for the Critical Role content on the home page, if you don't have that checked, this Blood Hunter won't show up. So if you want to play a Blood Hunter, make sure that's checked. But being an elf with a +2 dexterity and +1 intelligence, I'm going to pick Rogue because rogues are dexterity dependent and their saving throws are dexterity intelligence. So being an elf is very beneficial for me because everything I want in a rogue I get additionally as an elf. This just goes over your ability score improvements. No need to worry about any of that. Expertise for a rogue, you get bonus proficiency in certain skills, so you become even better at certain things that you're good at. Sneak attack, kind of the bread and butter of a rogue. You get additional damage. Thieves' Cant is a language for rogues. They can decipher a certain kind of code. And at level 1, that's all you really need to worry about, but that does go over the progression of the class and what they gain in each level. Proficiencies, I'll tell you what proficiencies you get. And then I'll go over hit points as well once we get to the character editor. So use add class, and it'll pop up with the class page and the stuff you get. You can pick your proficiencies. Basically, any of these skills you add your proficiency bonus to, which at level 1 is +2. It goes up as you level up. For a rogue, you probably want stealth to sneak around, sleight of hand to take things, acrobatics to make sure you're nice and nimble, and let's go investigation so that we can look around an area and determine what's there. Expertise, this is what I was talking about, getting extra proficiency. You pick 2 of these skills to get expertise in. I'm going to go with stealth so that I can be more stealthy. You could also do thieves tools, which you already have a proficiency in, but if you want to be better at like picking locks, you pick thieves tools. I'll go with investigation. Say I want to be like a Sherlock Holmes kind of sleuthy rogue, investigating scenes and stuff. I go with investigation. This goes over your other features like sneak attack and thieves' cant. If you want to read more on that, you can just show more, but you do additional damage in certain situations, and you know a secret language of rogues. This is the second optional feature screen, where you can pick an optional feature for rogues. Again, this is completely optional. It's up to you, but there is an entire source book dedicated to these optional features that does apply to character building as far as I'm concerned. So if you want steady aim, you can have steady aim. Basically, give yourself advantage on an attack roll by using your bonus action to kind of steady your aim with a ranged weapon. Otherwise, you can just leave that blank. And then this is the hit points I was talking about. I picked manual, so I want to go in here and manage HP, put in the rolled hit points you get at first level you get your max possible hit points. So for a rogue, 1d8 hit dice, the max on a 1d8 is 8. So you change this to 8, and then it will already calculate it for you. You don't get any bonus to that just yet because we haven't set our abilities, but Constitution is the ability score that determines hit points. You go next. This will go over the abilities, each one, and the generation methods. Next, for a generation method, you want point buy, and this will give you a certain number of points to spend in order to set your ability scores. Each ability score costs a certain number of points, and once you spend all of your points, you can't spend anymore, obviously. 9 is the highest, and that's for an ability score 15, and then it goes down from there. 14 is 7, 13 is 5, I think it might be 6, but this will calculate it for you. Being an elf, you get a +2 to dexterity and a +1 intelligence for being a high elf. This is already calculated here in the total, so you don't have to worry about that. But let's go through and pick our abilities. Dexterity, I get a +2, so I'm going to pick 14 for dexterity, and I'll tell you why I want that to be even. Because the modifier for your ability score, which plays into your saving throws and your skill checks, that's going to be a +3 on a 16, and it's going to be a +2 on a 14. It goes up with each even ability score. So if this were to be 15, that would make this 17, but I'd still only have a +3 modifier. So a 17 doesn't really do you any good. You might as well save yourself some points and do 16 and get the same modifier. I'll do intelligence next because I get my bonus to that. If I want to be a sleuthy rogue, I'll do 15 intelligence, making that a total of 16, and then have a +3 modifier to my intelligence as well. Then the rest of these, you can pretty much set whatever you want. Might want to be a little charismatic being a rogue, so I'll set that to 14. Constitution is going to determine my hit points. That'll do 12 just so I don't have a negative modifier to my hit points, which would really suck. And then I'm out of points, so I can't increase wisdom or strength. So I'm going to carry on then. Next, description. You can describe your character. Pick your background. Next. Under background, you can just choose whatever background you want. Each background gives you something different based on what kind of background it is. There's a lot of them in here. You can go through and read all of them if you want. But for a rogue, I would probably pick criminal or charlatan. I'll go with charlatan. And then this will tell you what the background gives you once you pick it. You get a bonus skill proficiency in deception, and then you can choose another skill to be proficient in. Let's go with performance, sure, why not? And then bonus tool proficiencies. It tells you what the background feature is, which isn't really going to come into play for this game, but some of them are kind of cool. Like this gives you documentation and acquaintances to establish a false identity, which is nice. There are some that let you like memorize maps and like be able to find shelter basically anywhere. It's just kind of flavorful things. And then details, you can pick this however you like. Alignment doesn't really come into play much. It's just kind of your moral and legal chart for how your character behaves. So like lawful good is going to be your justice, righteousness, truth, and honor kind of character. Sticks to the rules, does good all the time, stuff like that. Chaotic neutral is going to be more like a pirate where the code is more of a set of guidelines and you just kind of live by your own rules. You're not evil, you're not good, you just exist outside of the bounds of typical law and carry on your own way. And then like chaotic evil, as the burn orphanages, pillage villages, kill everybody in sight kind of character, causes as much mayhem and destruction as possible. So I'm just gonna go chaotic neutral, just kind of be outside the law, but not necessarily a bad guy, just existing. Lifestyle, it's not important. Faith, if you want one, you can pick one. There's a bunch of faiths in the D&D pantheon. Uh, it's not really important unless you're a cleric. But if you want one, you can have one. Physical characteristics, you can describe how your character looks here. Just noting what their basic physical traits are. Personality traits, you can set these as you like. You can pick one. Well, this one you can pick two uh, if you want. Uh, but these are just kind of helping round out your character, help you determine who your character is. So, like, I have a joke for every occasion, especially occasions where humor is inappropriate. You can add that one. And sarcasm and insults are my weapon of choice. You can add that one. And that's just kind of letting you flush out your character more. Free spirit. I fleece the wrong person. And I'm too greedy for my own good. And that's just kind of helping round out my character, give it a little bit more personality so I kind of know who my character is based on their characteristics. Next, choose equipment. You can do equipment or gold. I usually do equipment. Uh, there's a set of rules for gold, but I'm not going to go into that because you pretty much want equipment. And then you can pick your starting equipment. There's different weapons you can pick. I'll go rapier. I'll do a short bow for a ranged attack. And then these packs have different things in them. I'll do burglar's pack. But each one of these has different, like this one has 1,000 ball bearings, some string, a bunch of random items. If you pick Dungeoneer's pack, you get hammer, pit and torches. You pick Explorer's pack, you get mess kit, rations, water skin. It's just different things are in different packs, and you just kind of have to look at what you think is going to be useful. I'm just going to go Burglar's pack. And then leather armor, 2 arrows, and thieves tools. You get that for free being a rogue. And this is your background equipment. Um, the set of fine clothes as just kind of flavorful, as kind of like a part of a disguise, I guess. It doesn't really come into play much. Disguise kit you might use depending on if you want to do some infiltration or subterfuge. And then you can pick a random object to have, so like a set of weighted dice if you want, or a deck of marked cards. That's just to kind of, again, give your character a little something extra to flesh them out. And then pouch containing 15 gold pieces. Add. And yeah, it'll take you to this screen for your equipment. It'll show you what equipment you have. If you want any armor on to increase your capability of not being hit, you just wear. And then weapons you want to wield. And that's these two, wield. And that's it for equipment. And then what's next? You can just either click this button or this button to view your character sheet. And here's your character. So this is where the modifiers top, scores top came into play. I had scores top, so the scores are showing in these boxes. If I had modifiers top, it would show my modifier in these boxes. I do scores top, A, because I just like the way it looks better, and B, because I can calculate the modifiers myself. I just can look at the score and know what my modifier is. But if you want your modifier up front and center so that you know what it is, you can do that as well. Completely up to you. Your proficiency bonus is +2 at level 1. Like I said, it goes up as you level up, but that won't come into play. Your walking speed for most people is 30 feet. Some races have like 25 because they're short, like gnomes have 25, and goblins, I think. Your initiative bonus is based on your dexterity. Uh, so if your dexterity is modifier is +3, your initiative is going to be +3. That basically determines when you act in the combat round. Armor class is based on what armor you're wearing and your dexterity. In this case, for leather armor, if you were a fighter type and had heavy armor, your dexterity probably wouldn't come into play. It would just be the armor class of the armor. But for the rogue, the armor class of dexterity is added in, and if you click on that, it will show you what calculates your armor class, armor, dexterity, and bonus +3. This is where your modifiers come into play, is stuff like saving throws and skills. So dexterity saving throw is our dexterity modifier, and since we're proficient, also our proficiency bonus, so 3 + 2 is 5. Our dexterity saving throw is 5. Same for intelligence, 3 + 2, 5. Whereas charisma, since we're not proficient in it, it's only a +2 modifier, so our charisma saving throw is only a +2. It also tells you what features of your saving throws you have, like based on your race. Being an elf, you have advantage against being charmed, and magic can put you to sleep. So if somebody casts a charm spell on you, you have advantage on the saving throw. If somebody casts a sleep spell on you, it won't work on you. You cannot be put to sleep. Your passive scores are automatically calculated. This is basically your passive ability to see things, investigate things, and know when people are lying. These are determined by the opposing characters, whatever check they have to make to avoid your passive ability to suss them out. But it's already calculated, but if you want to know when it goes into that, you can click it. And most of the time, it's just 10 plus the skill. So like passive investigation is 10 plus 7, so that's 17. You also have your senses down here, dark vision 60 feet. You can see in the dark for 60 feet as an elf. A lot of races have dark vision. The only ones who really don't are like humans and maybe a couple other onesie twosies. Here's all your proficiencies. Already picked these, so you don't really have to worry about them. Just know that these are the things you're proficient in. These are languages you speak. And then your skills are all determined by your modifiers. So like acrobatics is a dexterity mod, so it takes your dexterity score, and then you're proficient in it, so it adds your proficiency bonus, making it a total of 5. This is the expertise I was talking about. That means you add double your proficiency bonus as a rogue. So you add another +2 to your investigation on what you already have, which is intelligence 3, proficiency bonus 2, expertise is another 2, so that's 7. Your actions, you have attacks per action 1, so you can attack once on your turn with an action. If you want to roll your dice digitally, you just click whatever button corresponds to the action. So say I want to attack with my dagger and I want to roll digitally, I just click this. The hit bonus is again calculated for you based on the ability score that the weapon uses. In this case, a dagger uses strength or dexterity, your choice. Most rogues want to use dexterity. And then if you're proficient in the weapon, it adds your proficiency bonus as well. So you just click on that, it'll roll the dice for you. I got a 7 on the die, and that's a total of 12 with my +5. If that hits, then you roll your damage. If you want, you can click that here as well. It'll roll it for you and calculate. I did a 2 + 3 is 5 damage. Sneak attack for rogues is a little complicated. I can go over it if you want to play rogue in more detail. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on it now. But that's about it for that. If there's any more information you want, or if you're confused about anything, just let me know.